Discover how a single dad CEO's blind date turned into a heartwarming, life-changing love story. Alex had mastered the art of juggling board meetings humming in his ear while his daughter Emily's laughter played at the edge of his heart. As the CEO of a booming tech startup in suburban Chicago, his life felt like a tightrope act, thrilling yet precarious. The demands of his career intertwined with the joy of raising his spirited 10-year-old, but it all came at a cost. Reading Emily a bedtime story blurred into late-night emails, and romantic dreams faded into forgotten fantasies, his sister, Anna, eyed him with a mix of compassion and exasperation. "You can't keep doing this to yourself. You need to meet someone. Let me set you up on a blind date." The urgency in her voice was hard to ignore. "Sarah's wonderful." Reluctantly, he agreed. The scene was set at a cozy downtown cafe, the aroma of cappuccino swirling together with whispers and laughter. When Sarah entered, it felt like the universe pressed pause. There she was, confident, with a hint of vulnerability that mirrored his own. Chatting over rich pastries, their connection blossomed. They shared heartfelt stories about their children and the trials of navigating life post-divorce. The warmth in the cafe embraced them, a cocoon where their common values sparked hope, but shadows loomed. The moment Sarah discovered Alex's CEO status, her demeanor shifted. Insecurity trailed behind like a shroud. Would he see her as merely a nurse, a woman from a different world? Questions clouded her mind, casting doubt where hope had flourished. "Emily loves volunteering at the shelter," Alex said, trying to bridge the gap. The mention of Emily brightened the conversation, planting seeds of shared experiences when they worked together to help children in need. But even amidst laughter, the underlying tension tightened like a rubber band ready to snap. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the weeks unfolded, moments became lifelines. Laughing over dinner with Emily, or volunteering at a local charity, they shared so much yet danced around the silent hurdles. Emily, wise beyond her 10 years, caught on. Her innocent hope and endearing confidence seemed to glow. "Dad, I think you two belong together." It ignited a flicker in Alex's heart that pushed him towards Sarah, but just as Alex contemplated a leap of faith, misunderstandings cast shadows between them. Could he reveal his true self, the man beneath the title? Could Sarah let go of her fears and embrace the depth of their connection? The community event was upon them, an evening of promise and tension. Standing before the crowd, with Emily's hopeful smile fixed on him, Alex took a deep breath. The stifled silence was loud, the weight of unspoken hopes hung heavily in the air. Would he muster the courage to fight for love, or would he let it slip away like so many dreams before? As the applause drew closer and a collective sigh of anticipation echoed through the hall, it became clear the moment of truth was about to unfold, a heartwarming chance to bridge the divide between them. Would they choose vulnerability and let love soar? Or would fear shatter their fragile connection for good? The applause thundered in Alex's ears, reverberating as he stood on that stage, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He caught a glimpse of Sarah in the audience, her eyes shimmered with encouragement, yet a flicker of uncertainty clouded her expression. Perhaps she felt the fraying strings of their budding connection, poised between hope and hesitation. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. "Thank you all for the warm welcome," he began, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. "This event is close to my heart, not just because of our mission to support underprivileged children but also because of the people who inspire me in my life." He paused, his gaze shifting to Emily, who nodded earnestly from the front row, her shining eyes a beacon of support. "And one of those people is someone special here tonight." His heart raced. Would this be the moment they pressed through their doubts? "Sarah, I want to thank you for inspiring me to be not just a better CEO, but a better person." Silence engulfed the room, but all he could hear was Emily's heartbeat, drumming louder than the crowd. He saw Sarah's brow furrow slightly, uncertainty creeping back, but he pressed on. You've shown me that love and connection transcend titles or professions. It's about understanding, support, and vulnerability. Clarity brushed the edge of fear as each word unraveled the tangled knots within him. I know I get caught up in work, in being a dad, that I forget to embrace what matters most. And that's love. He looked straight into Sarah's eyes, willing her to see his honesty. I want this, Sarah, not just the CEO, but the man who sees you as more than a nurse. I see you as my person. The crowd erupted into applause, but Alex barely noticed, locked in a connection with Sarah. She stood frozen, her expression mixed with surprise and something deeper: longing. Fear. Emily, sensing the charged atmosphere, called out, "You can do it, Miss Sarah." The room chuckled softly, but it broke the tension that hung like a heavy fog. Sarah's lips twitched, coaxed into a smile. I don't know if I can," she said, her voice wavering as if searching for a lifeline that had been ripped away, leaving her stranded in the depths of uncertainty. "It's too soon. We're from different worlds." "But that's just it," Alex pleaded, stepping closer, erasing the invisible divide. "We're trying to create our own world. Can't we share in that? Can't we take the leap together?" Her cheeks flushed, the battle between hope and doubt painted across her face. He could feel the room holding its breath, waiting for her response. "Emily deserves happiness, Alex," she finally whispered, her gaze dropping to the floor, as if afraid to look at all the possibilities spelled out in front of her. "And what if I can't give that to her, or to you?" His heart sank, but a flicker of determination ignited within him. "You can give more than you know. Love isn't about perfection, it's about growth, about being there through the messiness of life." Just then, the moment felt delicate and pressing, as all eyes turned towards the two of them, filling the air with an unspoken desire for resolution. Would they mend the fragile threads holding them apart and dive into the unknown? As the crowd began to stir, murmurs of curiosity rippled through the room, an urgency lingering in the atmosphere. There it was, a crossroads, a choice required by each of them, both frightening and exhilarating. And as Alex stepped back, holding his breath, grateful hope flooded through him. Would Sarah take his hand, trusting in the fragile bond they shared, or would she turn away, sealing off a connection that could flourish? With Emily watching, her innocence clouded with anticipation, Alex wondered what would be revealed in the seconds to come. Would love rise to the occasion, or retreat once more into shadows? The room lingered in a heavy silence, as if time itself held its breath. Alex could feel the weight of every gaze, every expectation pressing in around him. Sarah's expression shifted slightly, he could see shadows dance in her eyes. He wanted so desperately for her to step forward, to break through the doubts swirling like a storm cloud. Taking a step toward her, he said softly, "Please, Sarah. I'm not asking you to have all the answers. I just want to explore this together." But instead of changing her posture or offering a reply, she took a step back, as if his words pushed her further away. "I don't want to hurt Emily," she finally said, pain lacing her voice. "You have built this world, this life for her. I don't want to be the storm that disrupts it." "Your love wouldn't be a storm, Sarah. It could be an anchor," he urged, feeling the urgency in his chest rise. "Emily sees it. She believes in us. Why can't you?" The strains of the music crescendoed in the background, but for Alex, the melody faded. It was just him and Sarah, standing on the precipice of uncertainty. The applause waned into a distant hum, replaced with the vivid rhythm of their heartbeats. Because her voice cracked, and for a moment, her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "Because I'm afraid. Afraid of what it means to leap into this unknown. What if it doesn't work? What if it's all wrong?" There was a trembling vulnerability in her words, and in that instant, Alex realized that her hesitation wasn't just fear but also a glimmer of hope buried underneath. He reached out a hand, slowly and deliberately. What if it's right? The crowd had shifted back into gently whispering amongst themselves, anticipation crackling in the air. Emily's little voice rang through the silence again, innocent and hopeful, "Miss Sarah, you can be happy too." It was just the push Sarah needed. Her eyes flickered to Emily, then back to Alex. He could see the slight shift within her as she weighed the gravity of the moment against the possibilities it held. Her fears whispered doubts, but her heart echoed a quiet longing. What if I'm not good enough? She breathed, her lips barely moving. Alex shook his head. You're more than enough. To me, to Emily. Love isn't perfect. It's real and messy, and it can be beautiful. He stepped closer, his voice more urgent now. I see you. Not just as a nurse but as a woman I want to share my life with. We can figure this out together. For a heartbeat, she hesitated. Then, slowly, she reached for his hand, letting her palm rest against his. The crowd gasped collectively, a shift in the atmosphere that felt almost electric. I'm scared, Alex, Sarah whispered with trepidation. But maybe we can try. As he held her gaze, a flicker of something, an unspoken agreement passed between them. Could fear give way to trust? Could two people, so different yet so connected, forge a future together? Just at that moment, a loud crash echoed from the back of the room, pulling their attention away. Startled, they turned to see a wine glass had shattered, pieces littering the floor. Laughter mingled with gasps, a distraction that pulled the energy of the moment temporarily away. Only a little broken glass to bring a little chaos, Alex joked lightly, using it to ease the tension that had grown thick once more. But in the back of his mind, he felt the weight of what had just happened, the fragile threads of connection still hanging precariously between him and Sarah. If they could weather this storm, there might be hope. As the crowd erupted into laughter over the mishap, Alex made a silent promise. Whatever distractions pulled them apart, he would fight to keep coming back, to forge a love that could withstand anything. And as Sarah squeezed his hand, looking as steadfast as she could muster, a question bubbled up inside him. Would the rest of the night reveal more than laughter, signs that their fragile bond could truly grow? Alex held on to that thought, knowing each moment held a story yet to unfold. But as Sarah glanced toward him, the night felt charged with possibility. What would their next step be? The laughter in the room slowly faded, settling back into a gentle hum. Alex and Sarah stood together, fingers interlaced, caught in a world that now felt brimming with potential. The swirl of uncertainty and echoes of doubt settled like dust, leaving behind a raw openness, a willingness to embrace the chaos of their emotions. Are you okay? He asked, searching her eyes for signs of fear or resolve. I think I am, she replied, her breaths growing steadier. At least, I want to be. Her eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief, and he couldn't help but smile back. That's a start, he said, feeling lighter. But just as they found solace in one another, a familiar voice cut through the air. Emily, her little figure bouncing with energy from the edge of the crowd, called out, Miss Sarah. Can we dance now? The question hung in the air, sweet and innocent. Sarah looked over at Emily, her expression softening instantly. Dance? She echoed, uncertainty creeping back in around the edges. Yeah. Please. Just one dance. Emily clapped her hands, eyes wide with excitement. Alex felt the tension shift again. Emily's enthusiasm was contagious, radiating warmth that could melt the most steadfast doubts. What do you say? He prompted, his heart racing at the thought of seeing Sarah let loose. Even for a moment. After a pause, Sarah nodded, a spark igniting her smile. All right. Just one dance, and then we'll see. The crowd parted, and they made their way to the makeshift dance floor. The music swelled, a bright melody that seemed to wrap around them like a warm embrace. As they took their places, Emily took Sarah's other hand, pulling her closer. Laughter filled the air, the three of them forming a circle, and for the first time, Sarah looked less like a woman weighed down by responsibility and more like a friend enjoying a simple moment. They twirled and swayed, the joy radiating between them. For Alex, watching Sarah laugh unrestrainedly lifted a weight off his heart. This was the side of her he'd been yearning to see, the side that could embrace happiness, even amidst fear. For Emily, it was pure bliss, her wide grin contagious. Just as he thought they had found their rhythm, Sarah paused, pulling back slightly, breathless. "I can't believe I'm doing this," she laughed, a little shy but invigorated. "It feels good, right?" Alex encouraged, joining her in the moment. "The world fades when you allow the music in." As they danced, the arena morphed into their own small universe. But then, the music slowed, shifting into a softer, slower tune. The air felt charged again, each note echoing the unspoken hopes and fears shared between them. The laughter quieted as the atmosphere grew dense with possibility. He saw a conflict in her eyes, swiftly replaced with an unexpected vulnerability. "Alex," she said, her voice almost drowned by the melody, "what happens after this? After tonight?" She stepped closer, and he could feel the warmth radiating off her skin. "Promise me we can still be what we are, no matter how this goes." The moment felt suspended in time, the world around them a distant memory. "I promise," he found himself saying, not entirely sure where that certainty was coming from. But he meant it, with every fiber of his being. Their gazes locked, and it was as if each heartbeat echoed a question neither dared to voice. What truly followed this magical night? And then, just as he was about to lean in closer, a sudden loud cheer from the crowd snapped them back to reality. Emily, dancing her heart out, had drawn everyone's attention. "In here!" She squealed, her laughter infectious and inviting, and they both laughed, breaking the tension in a burst of joy. As the night stretched before them, Alex couldn't help but wonder, was this just the beginning of something special, or would the chaos of their lives pull them apart again? What if the dance was merely the prelude to a more profound leap of faith? The music continued to play, wrapping around Sarah, Alex, and Emily like a cozy blanket. The transition back to the joyful chaos felt like a lifeline, pulling them away from the weight of that earlier moment of honesty. Emily twirled in delight, her laughter ringing like a bell, casting away the shadows of uncertainty. "Isn't this fun?" Alex said, their shared smiles widening as Emily flung herself into a jump. "Yeah. It really is," Sarah replied, her cheeks flushed with warmth. Suddenly, she was all laughter and movement, spinning under the glow of the twinkling lights overhead. But even amidst the happiness, Alex caught a fleeting look on Sarah's face, an expression that suggested she was trying to keep something at bay. It made him hesitate, his heart pounding. The dance floor swelled with energy, and as they twirled, he felt an unyielding urge to close the gap between them, to whisper secrets right into her ear. But he respected her space, sensing she still harboring fears unspoken. That a loud clattering interrupted his thoughts. A group of teenagers had begun an impromptu contest to see who could come up with the best dance moves. Laughter erupted around them as they cheered one another, urging the dancers on. Emily's eyes sparkled at the spectacle, her tiny fists bouncing in joy. "Come on, Miss Sarah. Show them your best moves," she shouted, eyes shining with encouragement. Sarah laughed, but there was a hint of hesitation in her eyes. "Oh no, I'm no dancer." "You wouldn't want to see that." "I want to," Emily pleaded, pulling on her. "We can all do it together." The thought made Sarah falter. His heart sank a little at her reluctance. "You'll never know until you try," he said quietly, trying to be her anchor. "Besides, it's not about being perfect. It's about having fun and letting go." The encouragement in his voice seemed to resonate with something in her. Slowly, she nodded, a mix of apprehension and excitement gracing her features. "All right, just this once. For Emily." With that, they joined Emily in the center of the impromptu dance battle. As they moved to the upbeat rhythm, Sarah began to loosen up. The laughter was infectious, and soon enough, she was twirling alongside Alex and Emily with a spark that made her radiate, but the moment was fleeting. As the music shifted again to a more slower tune, Alex's heart sank a little as he noticed Sarah's smile fade, replaced with a more contemplative nature. Glancing at her, he realized this was a dance, but it was also a dance with fear of what lay ahead. Sarah, he gently pulled her to the side, away from the thrumming crowd and excitement engulfing the dance floor. We can just take it one step at a time. You don't have to promise me anything right now. I know, but I can't help but think about what could happen next. Her voice was quieter now, laced with uncertainty. There was a heavy weight pressing down. What if this changes everything for us? He brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, his thumb lingering by her cheek. There was so much unsaid between them, so many uncharted feelings swirling under the surface. Even if it does, isn't that the point of all this? To see where it goes? In that instant, he could see her grappling with thoughts too big to express. The tension on her face flickered, as if she'd taken a deep breath for the plunge. Then, just as the moment felt like it could burst, Emily darted back towards them, her small face brimming with glee. Come on. Come dance. I need you both. That tiny plea broke the tension, shattering the heaviness surrounding them. Sarah's eyes sparkled again, and for a brief moment, it felt as if the world could wait. Okay, let us go. Sarah took Alex's hand, and they blended back into the joyous whirlwind. But in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the feeling that this dance was only the beginning of something complicated. How could they navigate the chaos that was life and still find a way to seize the moments that brought them close together? What other truths would come to light as they danced on? The night swirled on, vibrant rhythms pulsing through their veins, each beat a gentle reminder that in this chaotic world, they could find joy. Emily giggled, pulling both Sarah and Alex in as if they were the most important dancers under the stars. The fairy lights flickered above, mirroring the bursts of laughter and luck, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. Sarah surrendered to the music, the constraints of her earlier thoughts fading into the background. She let out a carefree laugh as Emily copied dance moves from those around them, her energy contagious. Whatever uncertainties had consumed her were diminished by the innocent thrill radiating from Emily's spirit, but just as the music shifted again, uncertainty flickered back into Sarah's mind. Dancing beside Alex felt good, but the underlying questions kept creeping in. What if this connection was more than friendship? Could she handle it? Could they? Hey, let us take a break. Alex suggested, noticing the shift in her vibe. He led Sarah and Emily to the edge of the dance floor, where they could catch their breath. The sounds of laughter faded slightly as they settled into a quieter space, watching the chaos swirl around them. Do you think they'll ever sit down? Alex joked, gesturing towards some teenagers who were still going strong in the center, their youthful energy boundless. Emily, still buzzing from the excitement, chimed in. They can't. They have to keep dancing forever. Sarah smiled, but her eyes glimmered with doubt. Forever sounds exhausting, doesn't it? She murmured, turning her gaze to Alex. What if it all slips away just as quickly as it comes? Instead of answering, Alex focused on Sarah's eyes, seeking the thoughts she hadn't voiced. He felt their connection thrum between them, electric and undeniable. Change is scary, he admitted softly. But it can also lead to something beautiful. Remember? We talked about taking it one step at a time. I don't want to ruin what we have. Sarah's honesty came pouring out. Her vulnerability wrapped around them like a fragile thread. What if it doesn't work? What if it damages our friendship? What if Sarah, he interrupted gently, his tone unwavering, what if it doesn't? This might be the beginning of something deeper, something more. Let us not let fear decide. We need to listen to what we feel, not what terrifies us. Emily interjected, her tiny voice filled with wisdom. Like in movies. People have to try new things to make their hearts happy. She leaned in closer, her wide eyes sparkling. I want all of us to have happy hearts. Sarah's heart softened, the childlike wisdom settling into her bones. She glanced at Alex, who was watching her with a hopeful gaze. Could they really dive deeper? Part of her yearned for it, another part of her clung to fear. Before she could respond, Emily tugged her hand. Come on, let us go back. I want to dance the spaghetti dance. With a chuckle, Sarah nodded, allowing Emily to pull her back into the warmth of the crowd. Each step slipped away her worries, if only for a moment, reminding her that in the dance of life, it was okay to step into the unknown. As they joined the chaotic mass of jubilant dancers, Alex shifted closer to Sarah, their pulses in sync. The music pulsed with promise. But still, the question lingered, a quiet doubt echoing amid the joy. What if stepping into this dance with Alex meant losing herself, or what if it was the very thing that would help her find what she truly wanted? The night rolled on, and as she swayed with the rhythm, her heart raced with possibilities. Was this dance just an escape, or the beginning of unlocking something profound within? As the notes shifted and the laughter erupted again, it struck her, she had to face the music, and the question loomed larger: were they ready to trust in the rhythm of their hearts? Emily twirled and spun, her little feet barely touching the ground. Sarah couldn't help but grinning at the sheer delight radiating from her. The music enveloped them, a warm hug wrapping around their souls. As Emily danced the spaghetti dance, Sarah felt the weight of her decisions float down, dancing away in tandem with the beat. Look at her go. Alex laughed, leaning close to Sarah, their shoulders brushing as they both shared a moment of wonder at Emily's antics. She's got moves. Yeah, she really does, Sarah replied, her voice just above the thumping bass. Yet, even amidst the joy, her mind wandered back to their earlier moment, his penetrating gaze and the unspoken words that hung between them in the air like glitter. What was she feeling? The thrill of possibility or the fear of crossing into uncharted territory? As Emily waved her arms dramatically, Sarah's heart raced. Could these carefree moments be the bridge to something deeper with Alex? But could it also shatter what they already had? The mingling of the familiar and the unknown tugged at her thoughts. Let us join her. Alex suggested, suddenly catching the excitement that bubbled in the air. Without waiting for an answer, he pulled Sarah into the dancing crowd. His hand felt warm around hers, grounding and exhilarating all at once. Together, they moved with the music, swaying side to side and laughing as they imitated Emily's silly dance. Sarah's worries began to dissolve with each movement, and for the first time that night, she felt a spark of hope. See? This is what it's all about. Alex grinned. There was a brightness in his gaze, one that made her heart flutter. They were all just kids being silly, reminding each other that life was simple if you just allowed it to be, but past the laughter, small moments hit differently. His arm brushed against hers, igniting a fire that spread through her entire body. Each unspoken word between them pushed her to explore what lay beyond friendship. Could their dance tonight lead them to an awakening of feelings neither dared to acknowledge before? Okay, spaghetti dance break. Emily shouted, out of breath but far from finished with her joyful antics. She collapsed dramatically to the floor, giggling uncontrollably. Looks like we could all use some water, Alex said, and his laugh lifted Sarah's heart even higher. They both knelt beside Emily, enthusiasm flowing like a wave. In this sweet, silly moment, Sarah caught Alex's gaze, an electricity that seemed to translate their shared laughter into something limitless, but the looming question lingered, could this bliss be sustained? Sarah took a deep breath, just as Alex leaned in closer, his lips brushing her ear as he whispered, you dance beautifully, you know that? Her heart skipped. His words were a gentle breeze at the edge of a cliff. Would she be brave enough to lean in? Before she could gather her thoughts, Emily squealed, pointing to the other end of the crowd. Look! They have a cotton candy booth. With that, she sprang up, dragging both of them along. Okay. Let us go, Alex chuckled, a glimmer in his eyes that promised more than just cotton candy. The laughter subsided as Sarah fulfilled a silent wish. They navigated the crowd, hearts thrumming to a rhythm just theirs, but she felt a pull, an undeniable urge to step deeper into this connection. As they stood at the booth waiting for their treat, the lights twinkled like blinking stars, and in the aroma of spun sugar, everything felt right. But just as their cotton candy was handed over, reality tugged her mind back. What would tomorrow bring? The music was a burst of hope tonight, but would it fade with the dawn, along with the courage to leap beyond friendship? "Sarah," Alex said, hesitating for a beat, "can we talk later? I have something I want to say." Her breath hitched, anticipation mingling with fear as she met his gaze. "Sure," she replied, the weight of the moment settling through her. As they shared the sugary treat, savoring both the sweetness and the uncertain tension in the air, the question remained, would this night set the stage for something more, or would it slip away like the dissipating wisps of cotton candy? But as the crowd surged and laughter filled the evening sky, Sarah realized they were all just waiting for a spark. The night wasn't over yet. Would courage come along with the dawn? Emily was lost in a world of pink fluff, her fingers sticky with cotton candy, her laughter ringing like chimes in the gentle night air. The bright lights of the fair twinkled around them, each flicker mirroring the excitement in Sarah's heart. But despite the sweetness on her tongue, a bittersweet tension hung in the space where Alex stood beside her, watching Emily with eyes that spoke of uncharted possibilities. "Do you remember the first carnival we came to?" Alex asked, suddenly, breaking the reverie. His voice was laced with nostalgia, and he turned to meet her gaze, his smile inviting her to share the memory. "How could I forget?" Sarah chuckled. "You almost dropped me into the dunk tank." Alex laughed and playfully shoved her shoulder. "I was trying to impress you. By almost dunking me?" "Very impressive." Sarah smirked, matching his playful energy. The warmth of their earlier moments danced in the air between them, but it was different now. She felt a tightening in her chest, the realization that this could be a pivot point in their relationship. They shared a soft laugh, but as her gaze drifted to Emily, the jitters crept back in. She cleared her throat, her fingers subconsciously twirling the cotton candy stick. "Listen, Alex, about later I hope it's nothing serious." He tilted his head slightly, and Sarah braced herself for the seriousness in his expression. She didn't want to ruin the fun atmosphere with uncertainty. "Let's just enjoy tonight," she said, desperate to keep the lightheartedness in the air. "We'll talk later, when we're not covered in cotton candy." He raised an eyebrow, a grin playing at the corners of his lips. "You think I'm going to be the only one getting sticky? You've been swiping at that candy like there's no tomorrow." They were both laughing again, the moment stretching and pulling them closer, but the unease buzzed in the background like a song stuck on repeat. It was so easy to get lost in the laughter and the colors around them, but Sarah feared they were skirting the real conversation that could change everything. As they moved toward the Ferris wheel, the lights twinkling above them, Alex reached out and snagged her hand, threading their fingers together. Just a touch, but it made Sarah feel alive, as if fireworks were bursting in her chest. "Let's ride," he declared, excitement glinting in his eyes. Emily whooped, and they all hurried to the ticket booth, the anticipation wrapping around them like the aroma of popcorn wafting through the air. "Up we go." Alex cheered as they climbed into the carriage, squeezing next to each other, Emily nestled between them. With every jerk of the ride, Sarah's heart soared higher, her insecurities momentarily forgotten. As they ascended, the fairground lit up below them. It was a beautiful chaos of colors, filled with laughter and friendly faces. Just then, tackling her urge to ask the heavy question looming in her mind, Sarah leaned closer, whispering above the young couple's excited squealing. "This is amazing." "Yeah," he said, and then, as if the words were just waiting their turn, he added, "I feel like this is just the start for us." The way he said it was so sincere, it made her heart clench. But what did he mean? Did he want to change what they had? Just as quickly as the thought flickered, doubt wrapped around her heart once more. "Alex, about what you wanted to talk about," she started, but their carriage jolted to a stop, dangling at the top of the Ferris wheel. The view was breathtaking, but all Sarah could focus on was the silence between them, the moment pregnant with unspoken truths. "Sarah," he interrupted gently, gazing out at the twinkling lights. "Sometimes, the best things happen when you least expect them." As they hung there, suspended in the night, Sarah's heart raced. What could he be hinting at? Her voice trembled slightly. Are you saying we should explore this? Alex turned toward her, eyes bright, yet still searching. Maybe. Just maybe. But what if exploring leads us somewhere beautiful? Before she could respond, Emily squealed again. Look! The fireworks! As colorful bursts streaked across the sky, their moment slipped away, leaving behind a mix of hope and uncertainty. Sarah tried to focus on the fireworks, but her mind was racing. Alex was inviting her into something new, and the thrill was nearly overpowering. Would she take the leap? Would she find the courage to embrace whatever this good thing could be? And as they rode towards the ground and the fireworks faded, she realized she might have to confront her fears before the night ended. Would tomorrow ever dawn brightly if they didn't start painting their future tonight? The carriage finally lurched back into motion, and Sarah felt the rush of air against her face as they descended. The joyful sounds of the fair surged back into her awareness. Emily was bouncing in her seat, still wide-eyed and now buzzing with the lingering excitement of the fireworks. Sarah looked at Alex, who smiled brightly at Emily, and for a moment, all her doubts dimmed against his radiance, but as they reached the ground and climbed out of the carriage, the blissful atmosphere was overshadowed by her unresolved feelings. She needed to find a moment to talk to Alex, and as they walked through the fair, her mind raced with a mix of fear and anticipation. Let's get some churros. Emily chimed, pulling them toward the stand. The warm sweet scent filled the air, and as they reached the counter, Sarah glanced at Alex. He was watching Emily with a look of unfiltered joy, a warmth spreading in her chest. Seeing him like this, she felt the weight of their connection deepen. With churros in hand, they found a bench illuminated by colorful lights. Laughter echoed all around them, a collage of families, couples, and friends savoring the joyful chaos. It felt perfect, yet Sarah's heart ached with the need to face what loomed in the shadows. Emily, she said gently, how about you go ride the carousel? We'll meet you there in a second, okay? Emily's eyes sparkled with exhilaration. Okay. She squealed, racing off. Sarah turned to Alex, the moment now feeling charged with the electric tension from earlier. Alex, we need to talk. About what you said up there. His expression shifted, eyes narrowing slightly, bracing for the weight of a serious conversation. Yeah, I figured we might need to. She hesitated, the words caught in her throat. But seeing the concern etched on his features pushed her forward. I've been thinking, too. About what this could be about us. He watched her intently, his gaze unwavering. I know we laughed tonight, but I meant what I said. I want to explore what we have. I feel something real here, Sarah. His admission sent a rush of warmth through her. But I don't want to ruin what we have now. I care so much about you and Emily, and it's scary to think of changing that. Alex took a deep breath, leaning closer, his voice lowering to a confidential whisper. Change is always scary. But what if we're stronger than what we're afraid of? What if it leads us somewhere amazing? Her heart hammered. Could she truly let go of her fears? They sat there for a moment, the buzzing carnival fading into background noise, everything narrowing down to this pivotal moment. Just then, Emily darted back, her face alive with excitement. You guys have to come see. The magician is about to start. With their bubble of seriousness popped, Sarah shot Alex a look, her heart still racing. Okay, let us go see the magician. As they followed Emily, a thought ignited in Sarah's mind. Maybe tonight was just the beginning, perhaps a step towards something beautiful. But still, shadows of doubt lingered. As they gathered near the stage, Emily squealed in delight, her innocence coating the tension in warmth. But Sarah's mind buzzed with uncertainty. Could she open her heart to love when fears held their tight grip? Was she ready to embrace the leap Alex had suggested? The magician appeared, shrouded in mystery, and as he dazzled the crowd with wonder, Sarah realized that this moment, despite its joy, would force her to confront the most important question of all. What did she truly want? and as the first trick unfolded before her, she could feel destiny creeping ever closer, beckoning her to make a choice. As the magician captured the crowd with his flicks of the wrist and vanishing acts, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that her own life was on the brink of transformation. The air buzzed with excitement, but in the pit of her stomach, uncertainty churned. Would she let herself trust in what could bloom with Alex, or would she let fear chain her? With Emily bouncing at her side, eyes wide with wonder, Sarah glanced at Alex. He stood close, a comforting force, his gaze focused on the performance while the colors of the fair danced closely around them. The magician pulled a dove from thin air, a spectacle that made the crowd gasp, and for a moment, everything felt vibrant, alive. But Sarah was lost in thought. Could this joyful atmosphere show her that change didn't have to be fearful? Maybe tonight wasn't just about laughter and cotton candy but about daring to face what loomed in her heart. As the first act transitioned into a whimsical display of illusions, she turned to Alex, whose expression was soft and open. "Tonight has been perfect," she began, the words spilling forth, pushing past her hesitation. "But I can't keep dancing around what we both know is brewing between us." He nodded, listening intently. The intensity in his eyes urged her forward. "I need to understand if you really think we can navigate this, whatever it is we have." His answer was a moment too long in coming, and the pause felt heavy with unspoken emotions. But then he leaned closer, his voice quiet yet steady. "I believe we can, Sarah. I believe we're strong if we're honest with each other. Whatever happens, I want to face it with you." Sarah held on to those words, feeling an anticipation unlike anything before. This was what she wanted: the honesty, the connection. "I'm scared, Alex. But I don't want to step back anymore." He smiled, a warmth that lit up the shadows that had lingered between them. "Then let us take it one dance at a time." "Okay," she breathed, a wave of relief washing over her. It was more than an agreement, it was acceptance. They would face whatever followed together. In that moment, the magician's next trick snapped her back. Intermission was coming, and she could see Emily bouncing on her toes, ready for the next act. "Mommy, can we stay for a little longer?" "Of course, sweetheart," Sarah spoke, her heart swelling at the sight of her daughter basking in joy. "Let us enjoy the show together." As the final act unfolded, adorned in streams of glittering lights and laughter, Alex placed a hand on Sarah's back, a simple yet electrifying connection. She felt buoyed with hope, colors swirling all around them, and realized that sometimes, lightness emerged from even the heaviest moments. As the crowd erupted into applause for the finale, an epiphany dawned within her. Life was a series of choices, and within each choice lay the opportunity to step deeper into love, to embrace all that came with it: not just happiness, but vulnerability, authenticity, and the beauty of connection. "Want to make a wish?" Alex suddenly asked, drawing her from her thoughts with a grin. "Under the stars, with Emily by our side?" "Yes," she whispered, her heart fluttering at the thought. As they made their way towards the vibrant fountain, surrounded by families and laughter, Sarah felt a spark ignite. This was just the beginning. Each choice could lead to something wonderful. They approached the fountain, where Emily tossed a coin, eyes closed, making a wish with pure innocence. "Now you too," she instructed, grinning. Alex slipped his arm around Sarah, and she could feel both the thrill of the moment and the steady strength of his presence beside her. She closed her eyes, holding the coin tightly. A wish formed in her heart, a wish for love, for courage, and for the new beginning that awaited them. "Together?" Alex murmured, brushing against her shoulder. "Together," she affirmed, her voice steady and filled with warmth. They tossed their coins into the water simultaneously, a shared moment of hope and promise. As the wishes danced in the air, Sarah looked at Alex, feeling the weight of their connection. While the future was unknown, she felt ready to dive into it with him, to face whatever came next. As they watched the reflections shimmer in the fountain's depths, Sarah smiled, knowing that they had already taken the most crucial step together. They weren't just balancing on a tightrope anymore hand in hand, they were ready to leap. As laughter and music surrounded them, an undeniable realization nestled in her heart: love, in its rawest form, could thrive in uncertainty. And together, they would embrace whatever direction the dance would take them next. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.